Welcome to Magnetic Mindset, guys. There are certain things a woman will never forget, and it's not your bank account. It's not your six-pack. It's not even how well you performed in bed. What stays with her, what leaves a mark, is how you made her feel. And this is exactly where most men get it wrong. You're putting in all this effort physically, but you're leaving her starving emotionally. You're pounding away, but there's no connection. You're both naked, but somehow you're still not really there, and she feels it. She starts going quiet. She begins to pull away. You can't put your finger on why. Deep down, you know something's off. She feels lonely even while your body is right next to hers. Let me be straight with you. There's a reason women sometimes cry after sex with certain men. And no, it's not just lust. It's because those men wake something up inside her deep, something sacred, something most of you are too distracted, too busy, or too emotionally shut down to even reach. If you want to be the man she never forgets in the bedroom, stop thinking with your ego. Start speaking to her nervous system. Start connecting to her soul. Because here's the truth, men who know how to touch a woman's heart, not just her body, those are the ones she dreams about for years. Those are the ones she carries in her memory long after the moment has passed. If you've ever been ghosted, if she's ever suddenly lost interest, if you're tired of feeling like you're almost good enough, but never the one she stays with, then this video is going to be the most conversation you've ever heard. We're going to talk about what actually makes a man unforgettable in the bedroom. Why some of you are physically sleeping with women. They're still emotionally untouched. Presence is the ultimate aphrodisiac, and I don't just mean showing up physically. I'm talking about emotional presence, being fully tuned in, fully locked in, fully there. Because what most men don't understand is that women don't just want your body. They want attention. They want your energy. They want your focus. When she's with you, especially when you're intimate, she's not just asking, do you desire me? She's asking, do you see me? And most of the time, the answer is no. You're stuck in your own head. You're too busy worrying about performance, about whether you're doing it right, about how long you're lasting. And in all that overthinking, you disappear. You leave her there with your body, but you're emotionally gone. She feels when your touch is hollow. She knows when your mind is somewhere else, when you're chasing validation instead of connection. And no matter how good you think you are at sex, if you're not present, she won't feel safe. She won't feel seen. She won't open up. A woman's body responds to real presence the way flowers respond to sunlight. She opens when your energy is anchored. She softens when your touch is patient, when your breath slows to match hers, when your eyes quietly say, I'm here. I'm not escaping. I'm not performing. I'm connecting. That's the man she remembers, the one who slowed down, the one who didn't have anything to prove, the one who stayed. You don't need perfect technique. You don't have to be loud. You don't need a script or a playbook. What you need is the courage to be still, the courage to let her guide you sometimes, the strength to stay in the moment. And that takes emotional maturity. It takes self-control. It takes the kind of presence most men never develop because they're too scared to face real intimacy. But when you do, when you stop rushing, when you breathe with her, when you notice every small sound, every shift in her body, every heartbeat, something happens, something sacred. That's when she feels something she's rarely allowed to feel. Safe surrender. And that right there is what women secretly crave. Not just a man who knows how to move her body, but a man who makes the whole world disappear when he's with her. That's the man she can't forget. She feels your silence more than your words. And this is the part most men completely miss. You're so busy worrying about saying the right thing, impressing her with your lines, flexing your so-called game, that you overlook the one thing that actually speaks louder than anything you could say, your energy when you're silent. Silence isn't just empty space. It's a message. And depending on how you carry it, that silence can either build connection or quietly tear it apart. There's a kind of silence that feels safe, the kind where she can breathe into your chest and know she doesn't have to explain herself. That kind of silence is healing. It's rare. But there's also a kind of silence that feels like rejection, like distance, like you've emotionally checked out while your body is still there. And that's the silence most women get from men in the bedroom. You think it doesn't matter because you said, I like you. You think she should know how I feel. But women don't just listen to your words. They tune into your presence. And when you disappear emotionally, when you don't check in after, when you leave her hanging in the quiet, she starts filling in the blanks. And trust me, she's not going to fill them in with the best case scenario. She'll start wondering, was I just a moment for him? Did he really care? Was I used? And that silence turns into doubt, into shame, into confusion. Because for women, silence is never just silence. It's information, it's data, it's a signal. And if you don't offer her reassurance, if you don't stay connected in that quiet space after, she'll write her own story in her head. And once that happens, you've lost her. The most emotionally powerful men are not the loudest. They're not the slickest, the ones who respond. The ones who say, I hear you. The ones who can hold space without saying a word, the ones who know that a gentle hand on her back, a squeeze of her hand, a soft exhale can sometimes say more than 1,000 words ever could. Stop thinking silence is neutral. It's not. It's either the safest place she's ever been or the loneliest, and you decide which one it becomes. Your attention with your empathy, with your presence. Even when you're saying nothing at all, masculinity is not performance. It's permission. And you need to really let that sink in, because so many men confuse matehood with domination, with bravado, with being the loudest in the room or the hardest grip in the bedroom. But real masculinity doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't have to flex. It holds space. It creates safety. It gives a woman permission to be fully herself, emotionally, spiritually, vulnerably. Too many of you think being a man is about taking control. And yes, leadership is beautiful when it's rooted in love. But when your control comes from ego, when it's about proving something or avoiding your own emotional discomfort, what you create, it is tension, not safety. Women feel that. Even if they can't always explain it, their bodies know the difference between a man who leads from love and a man who hides behind control. Let me say something a lot of women are too afraid to say out loud. We want strong men. Not the strong that silences us. Not the kind of strong that dominates with Don out listening. We want strength that makes us feel like we can break down in your arms and still be loved. That we can cry and you won't flinch. That we can be soft because your masculinity gives us permission to stop being hard all the time. Do you know how rare that is for a woman? Most of us have had to toughen up just to survive. We've had to armor up to protect ourselves. But when a man shows up steady, when he's not threatened by our tears, by our chaos, by our rawness, that's when we finally let go. That's when the connection becomes more than just physical. It becomes spiritual. So next time you're in the bedroom, stop asking, am I doing enough? Start asking, am I creating space for her to be all of herself right now? That's real masculinity. The kind that doesn't need to perform because it's already grounded, already solid, already whole. Be acting fast enough. When you carry that kind of energy, a woman won't just give you her body. She'll trust you with her soul. And that's a level of intimacy most men never reach because they're too busy performing to realize she wasn't asking for perfection. She was asking for presence. Be the exception. Be the man who gives her that permission. Eye contact is more powerful than thrusting. And I don't care how skilled you think you are in bed. If you can't hold her gaze, you're missing the deepest part of the experience. Because eye contact is not just about looking. It's about seeing and being seen. And that terrifies most men. You want to know why? Because when you really look at her during intimacy, you expose something. It's not just her that's vulnerable, it's you. And a lot of men aren't ready for that. So they look at her body, they close their eyes, they get lost in the rhythm, but they avoid her eyes because her eyes are where the truth lies. Her eyes will tell you how deeply she's letting you in or how much she's still holding back. And your eyes, they reveal whether you're there for her or just there for the release. A woman knows the difference. When a man locks eyes with her, not in some creepy, forceful way, but gently with real presence, her body responds, her heart softens, her trust deepens. Because now she doesn't feel like a performance. She doesn't feel like an object. She feels like a woman being truly seen. And that's the part she craves. That's the part she almost never gets. You want to be unforgettable in the bedroom. Don't just learn how to touch her body. Learn how to see her. When she's vulnerable, hold her gaze. When she's opening up, look at her like she's sacred, not like a possession, not like a fantasy, but like a human being saying, here I am. That kind of eye contact calms her nervous system. It relaxes the parts of her that have always been on guard. It tells her you're safe, you're chosen, you're enough. So many men are chasing harder, faster, deeper, but none of that matters if she feels unseen. You can be technically perfect and still emotionally forgettable. Or you can hold her gaze with intention, softness, with presence, and she will never forget how you made her feel. Because when a man truly sees a woman without judgment, that moment becomes more than sex. It becomes healing. And that's the kind of intimacy she will crave for the rest of her life. Emotional aftercare, everything. And I wish more men understood this. Because what you do after sex matters. It speaks louder than anything you did in bed. It tells her whether this was connection or just released, whether she was valued or just used, whether she can trust you or regret ever letting you close. Too many men think the job is done when the climax hits. They turn over, grab their phone, fall asleep, and she's left lying there, body exposed, heart confused, energy suddenly cold. That's the moment when most women feel the sharpest pain, not during, after, because it's in the aftercare that she realizes who you really are. For women, intimacy doesn't end at the physical. It lingers in the heart, in the mind, in the body. We're wired to bond, to feel close, to feel held. And when that doesn't happen, it's not just disappointment, it's rejection. She starts asking herself, did he mean it? Was I just a body to him? Why do I suddenly feel so alone? But the men who truly get it know aftercare is the real foreplay for the soul. It's the way you pull her closer, not push her away. It's the way you ask, Are you okay? It's the way you keep holding her even when the moment is over. That's what creates emotional memory. That's what makes her feel safe enough to open up again. Aftercare isn't just physical. It's emotional. It's energetic. It's how you carry her feelings after the experience. Do you go cold or do you stay connected? Because trust me, a woman will never forget how she felt in your arms after. That's the part she replays. That's the part that either builds attachment or builds regret. If you want to be the man she trusts, the man she craves, then show up for her in the aftercare. That's where real intimacy lives, not in the climax, but in the quiet moments that follow. The moments that say, I'm still here. I still care. When you connect emotionally, the physical becomes unforgettable. I know the world teaches men to master technique, timing, tricks, but none of that means anything if her heart isn't engaged, because for a woman, real intimacy starts in the soul. It starts with trust, with safety, with presence. You could be the most skilled lover in the world, but if she feels seen, untouched emotionally, she will never fully open to you. Her body might respond, but her spirit won't. She'll go through the motions. Inside, she'll be distant, numb, quiet, and you'll feel it. Two, you'll wonder why something felt off, even when everything looked right. It's because women don't crave performance. They crave connection. They crave depth. They crave a man who can hold their heart, not just their hips. A man who listens before he touches, who communicates before he penetrates, who enters her emotionally before he enters her physically. And when that kind of connection is built, it changes everything. Her body relaxes. Her mind stops racing. Her heart lets go. And in that sacred space, she gives you more than her body. She gives you her whole self. That's not just sex. That's healing. That's the kind of intimacy that stays with her long after you've left the room. You want to know why some women cry after sex. It's not always sadness. Sometimes it's relief. Sometimes it's because for the first time, she felt safe. Sometimes the connection is so deep her body doesn't know how to contain it. That's the power of emotional alignment. So stop chasing harder, faster, more. Start slowing down. Start listening. Start connecting. Because when the emotional foundation is strong, the physical experience becomes something she'll never forget. Not because you did something crazy, but because you did something rare. You made her feel like her body, her heart, and her soul were all welcome, all honored, all safe. And that is the most unforgettable kind of intimacy a man can give. If message spoke to something deep in you, don't just scroll past, like this video to anchor it in. Drop a comment. Tell me what part hit you the hardest. Share this with a brother who needs to hear this. And if you're ready for more raw, honest, emotional conversations about love, intimacy, masculinity, and becoming the kind of man a woman feels safe with, subscribe. Because around here, we're not teaching performance. We're teaching presence. We're not raising boys. We're calling out kings. And the man you're becoming, yeah, she's praying for him. But first, you need to become him. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, she doesn't need a perfect man. She needs a present one.